Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Maine Children's Home 2022 annual meeting. My name is Daniel Santos, and I'm the Director of Growth and Innovation at the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce, and proudly serve as the Volunteer Board President here at the Maine Children's Home. Before I begin, on behalf of the board and myself, we wish to extend our deepest admiration for the incredible staff of the Maine Children's Home. Not just the ones who work tirelessly to make this beautiful event happen tonight, but also the ones who during a pandemic and tough times filled with incredible uncertainty, sacrificed, battled day after day, and innovated to ensure that we can continue to bring world-class care and services to Maine families and their children. We are incredibly indebted to you for all you have done and continue to do during these times. So once again, thank you so much to the Maine Children's Home staff. With that said, I wanted to kick off tonight with a quick fact. And that fact is that the Maine Children's Home was founded in 1899. And that means that the Maine Children's Home has continued instilling hope in Maine families and children for over 120 years. I mention this because those 120 years of service that gave countless families and children a chance at a more promising future would not have been possible without wonderful contributions from folks like you. Simply put, your donations change lives and make the magical things we do at the Maine Children's Home possible. So here is a small sample of what your contributions to the Maine Children's Home look like and their impacts.
What does your donation to Maine Children's Home look like? It looks like access to parenting, prenatal, and nutrition classes for our youngest parents. It looks like families built from adoption and children coming home. It looks like trust, a strong foundation for kids. Your donation looks like healing trauma through counseling and mental health resources and services, through play therapy and connection, through parents, caregivers, and educators who are trauma-informed. In one word, what does your donation look like? Your donation looks like home, programs that build and strengthen families.
So, thank you to all those who have contributed or will contribute in the future. If you feel moved to donate to the Maine Children's Home tonight, you can do so conveniently online by making a donation. There's a link in the description or in the comments. You can also visit our website at mainechildren'shome.org, click Make a Donation to join us in changing some lives today. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Maine Children's Home Rockstar Executive Director, Rick Dorian. With over 30 years of nonprofit management and leadership experience, Rick has served the Maine Children's Home as executive director for more than 6 years. He's an absolute champion of the community and building community, and it is my pleasure to invite him to speak to you all tonight. Rick? Hello, Rick. Just to let you know, you're currently muted. So you want to unmute yourself real fast?
This will make it easier for you to hear me. Again, I have the great joy to introduce Sharon Fowler. Sharon is no stranger to Waterville. She grew up in Waterville and presently serves as our clinical director. She received her Bachelor's of Social Work from the University of Southern Maine, her Master's of Social Work degree from the University of Houston, and a concentration in children and families. Her professional work led her to Boston, where she was in leadership and residential treatment and social services before she returned to Maine to raise her family. Sharon has been a leader in mental health settings, home-based treatment, and educational settings for over 33 years of social work practice. Sharon has received clinical training in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy and triple P parenting evidence-based treatment models. She has additional specialized training in trauma-informed schools and women in leadership. She is a certified behavioral health professional trainer and has trained extensively on the topic of trauma and trauma-informed schools. She is also a passionate advocate for creating trauma-informed organizations and most recently, helping others process and understand the impact of the collective trauma of COVID-19. Sharon also serves as a member at large for the National Association of Social Workers in the Maine chapter and is the chair of the NASW Maine School Social Work Committee. Welcome, Sharon.
Hey, everybody. Ready for me to go? Well, hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me now. I would add to that lengthy introduction. Thank you, Rick. And thank you, Dan. An additional fun fact, I was also the starting fullback of the very first Waterville Girls State Championship soccer team in 1980. The first year Maine had a championship for young women. I still have my purple jacket. So it's an honor and privilege to be here, to be asked to speak at this annual meeting for Maine Children's Home. I must say that I represent not only myself, but the amazing leaders, gifted staff, and the people that we serve. I also want to give a shout out to our partners and colleagues in this work who are with us tonight, my friends and colleagues who are educators, school social workers, mental health providers, healthcare providers, and other agency representatives. Thank you for all for being here, and thank you for all the work that you do. For me to have come full circle in 33 years of social work practice back to my hometown of Waterville, Maine, is also an honor. I would say that my parents and grandparents, all who were Waterville High School graduates, and my grandfather, also a Colby graduate, would all be quite proud. And it is my supreme honor to support children and families and individuals whose lives have been impacted by traumatic events. And because this work is our mission, our team at Maine Children's Home has understood our supreme responsibility in helping change the conversation about being trauma-informed. You know, I could share the work of people like Bessel Vanderkook and Bruce Perry and Peter Levine and Stephen Porges, all who are fabulous, and I would totally geek out with all of that. By the way, if you're interested, go see Stephen Porges. Just do the short version because the big book is hard to get through on his work on brain science. And Bruce Perry's he did a leadership during COVID training for educators that's on YouTube. Go see that if you're an educator. But I'm not going to bore you with all that science, even though it's fascinating and we should all know it. But I have 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes. Sharon Fowler has 10 minutes to talk. And those of you that know me, I can talk. It's a family trait. I have it. I own it. 10 minutes. So I have to keep going. So I'm going to talk about what I know to be true. I know I believe in this community and I believe in this work. Everything I have done in my life and my career has led me to this very special place. I am forever connected. And because of this, I challenge each of you that are listening. Ask yourselves, are you connected? I mean, really connected to the mission of your work, the mission of our work, the support of staff and people that we serve. Does it matter? And why does being trauma-informed matter? And I ask, what is it that makes a difference? Here we are at Maine Children's Home. We call ourselves small but mighty. And the answers have the capacity to change lives in our agency and in our community. Because trauma, treatment of trauma, and healing and recovery from trauma is the work we are called to do. Even now, especially now, with the collective impact of COVID-19 on trauma. What also fuels me is a supreme responsibility to make a difference. I have to tell you a couple of stories. I might go over my 10 minutes. I spoke with a parent today of a 10-year-old son. After the family had all contracted COVID, he said to his parents, "Guys, the world feels like impending doom." I spoke to a school staff who talked with me about how many resignations they had had in their district. I spoke with a registered nurse who told me about the massive shortage of staff that was impacting her team, her work, and all of their mental health. And to the families looking for relief of for their children, and humans for looking for relief and a soft place to land, here we are. So many other stories, and I'm so proud of how we make a difference in the work that we do. Here's how we do it. We look at SAMHSA's principles, trauma-informed principles, with the understanding that we must consider and follow these principles, the 4 R's that organizations should follow when they are saying they're working toward building a trauma-informed agency. We have to realize the widespread of trauma and understand the potential paths of recovery. The system must recognize the signs and symptoms of trauma and respond by fully integrating this knowledge about trauma into policy, procedure, and practices. And finally, that a trauma-informed organization actively resists re-traumatization of all that they come in contact with. Because when people experience trauma, and that can be in the workplace, and at home and in the community, when they experience it, they are reactivated by what they perceive as a threat, and their brains and bodies literally go into protection mode. This is the brain science of Stephen Porges, but I want to talk about it because you may not see it and you may see it in your work. Porges calls it fight, flight, or freeze. And sometimes we don't see it or know that it's happening for others. But that brain response for people who have experienced trauma, it can look like anger. It can look like frustration. It can look like irritation. Or a flight response can look like panic or anxiety or fear. Or a freeze response can look like shutting down or feelings of shame or hopelessness. And it takes time to regulate a brain back to safety, where people can be calm, settled, grounded, mindful, open, and compassionate. So we talk about the evidence that a child's brain and body must be regulated before they're ready to learn. And we talk about adults' bodies also being regulated first. The adults working and caring for children must be ready before they're ready to work. And in our work, in our leadership, it's very crucial to understand. As an organization, we recognize the need to honor and regulate ourselves first, and provided trauma-informed training for all of our staff. We followed up with a training regarding the collective impact of trauma and asked ourselves questions like, what does a trauma-informed organization look like? And I asked others in the community what they thought. Here are some of their responses. What do you think a trauma-informed organization is? Having resources, we need to respond, said a nurse. Taking care of everyone, the whole system, has respect and compassion for all, said a therapist. A director said a trauma-informed organization is creating relationships that provide safety for our families and children so they can be their true selves, and that we do not unintentionally cause further harm. A trauma-informed organization from another director said, I want to understand the differences and being deliberate about how we treat people, remembering always to also continue the work on justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. A clinical social worker said that being trauma-informed is being part of healing. And I spoke to many educators and paraprofessionals and people that work in education, and their response was not only an awareness of trauma by all adults, but know the student behaviors that signal trauma, knowing, recognizing, and giving adults the tools and training to support strategies that can really help. That's what they thought. I've been reading a book called The Blueprint by Doug Conant. If you haven't read that or listened to his podcast with Brene Brown, go do that too. But he asked himself, he wrote in this book that a question that all leaders should be asking is this: how can I make things better for those doing the work? And so I thought about, how did we ask ourselves that at Maine Children's Home? And here's what we did. We did some internal work, and we pushed ourselves to do that work and made a commitment to do that work. And we provided what I call an organizational shift. We looked internally first and then externally with our community partners, because we really can't talk about influencing anybody if we have first been influenced and know what our plan is. We honored the lens of everybody in our agency, from the therapists to the directors to the senior leaders, administrative staff, business staff, and maintenance all heard about what being trauma-informed means and what it looks like. We did that internal work, and the action steps that we took, we trained all of them. We did community work. We understood that after we did our internal work, that we wanted to give back to the community and give a voice to the impact of COVID and trauma. And we did that for our community. And we continue to provide opportunities for our community to learn. We did a training that involved our community partners at the AYCC, teachers, school social workers, nurses, and other leadership teams. We plan for support of a local high school. Something that we did was offer support, and we continue to do for any of our local partners after traumatic events happen. That we provided a common language for everyone, kind of like what I've already said a little bit today about that brain regulation and why it's important for us to regulate first. And we are continuing to do our research on best practice from the CDC and the Secretary of Education. Those two, by the way, have some wonderful documents that are current, specific to mental health. The Secretary of Education just posted a link where he has the document about what schools can do to support mental health. It's pretty darn good for you educators and you parents out there. Take a peek at that. And since August, our agency has served, I don't know if the numbers are right, Diana might get me in the morning, or Rick might, but I think we've served over 220 clients in our counseling center. We've provided weekly services to young parents to support education, parenting, and therapeutic needs. We've provided 17 trust-based relational intervention trainings for parents, adoptive parents, and prospective adoptive parents and community members. We've provided support for hundreds of families through our Christmas program. That is trauma-informed. We've provided trauma-informed schools trainings and support. We've written grants that are going to help support our work. And people, I hope you're listening. It's so hard for me not to have somebody interacting with me. Those of you that know me are going to be cracking up right now. We did all this since I came in June. That's when I started. We've done that since June. We have 30 to 34 staff. 30 to 34. That's it. And what I'm saying is if we can do it, others can do it. We are small but mighty. Our next steps are, to continue to do our work. Our work at Maine Children's Home is going to be more regarding clinical practices, trainings about trauma-informed space, not only regulation space for kids and clients, but for our staff that support that regulation. And having a well-supported staff that understands these trauma-informed principles, not just, and I think educators will really understand this one, having worked in education for a long time. Some of my old friends are here, not old, but, former. And it's not to tell people to remember to practice self-care. That's not it. It's really doing some more digging and some more hard work in our agency and in schools and other places. And it's made a difference. And this has allowed us to move forward and support our Maine Children's Home community, our community of Waterville, Kennebec County, and the state of Maine, and understanding that work so that we can move forward as leaders. We have some bold and brave initiatives in front of us. And we are continuing to work with them, work with our team rather, and training and creating those spaces and supporting our community. In closing, I have a few more things. I haven't counted my time. I'm almost there. I really want to thank all of you for being here. I don't know how many of you are on this call. Maybe I'm talking to myself. 10 minutes. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much to our wonderful board of directors, our Maine Children's Home leadership team, the families that we work with that trust us with their most precious children, and all of our staff that are doing what I call heart work. We thank each of you for showing up and for being bold and brave. I wanted to share this last piece from that same book of Doug Conan's. He's a leadership book, and he writes, and listen to this. This one's good and juicy. Ready? Leadership does not consist of one speech, one decision, or one change initiative. It's our behavior in the smallest of moments that forms our legacy and determines whether we triumph or whether we fail. So I challenge all of us as individuals, as leaders, as our small but mighty Maine Children's Home in my great hometown of Waterville, Maine, along with our greater Waterville community and communities throughout the state of Maine, you ask yourselves, how am I showing up? How do you say hello in a way that invites positive and safe interactions with others? How do you create space for human beings to thrive at home and at work? Literally, safe space, top, bottom, inside out. How do you create that? How do you treat everyone you come in contact with, even those that you come in contact with whom you disagree with? How do you lead? How will we lead Maine Children's Home? It is our behavior in the smallest of moments that forms our legacy and determines whether we triumph or fail. It matters. I look forward to seeing you all at the triumphant Trauma-Informed Organizations Championships, my friends. I will be wearing my 1980s Waterville girls soccer team state jacket. And now, I am handing this back off to Rick, our executive director, and you are on, Rick. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Sharon painted lots of vivid images about how we make a difference, how we show up every day. Some examples of the extraordinary work that all the staff at the Maine Children's Home do. And I could talk at great length about it, but I'm not going to. Our marketing coordinator, Chelsea, has put together a wonderful annual report to share with you all. Some great figures and examples. And so I welcome Chelsea to share the annual report video. Excellent. Thank you very much, Chelsea. You've heard a little bit from our board president, Dan, and also from Sharon about the incredible staff that work at the Maine Children's Home. And so one of the things I want to be sure that we did tonight was to honor a number of people who've been with the Maine Children's Home for over 10 years, and a number of people that have been with us. A few are brand new, and a few have been with us less than a year. At the top of the list, she's a pretty familiar person to many people that know the organization, Sharon Abrams, our dear friend and mentor, has been with the Maine Children's Home for over 46 years. And although Sharon officially retired as the executive director in 2016, it was clear Sharon still had a lot to teach and a lot to share. And so Sharon has continued as one of our adoption social workers over the past 6 years, and we're very glad for that. Sharon was the original teacher for the teen parent education program and has been in a number of leadership roles in the organization before becoming the executive director. I'd also like to commend Caroline Hutchinson. Caroline has been one of our adoption social workers for over 33 years altogether, and is a remarkable mentor and teacher to all of us. Cindy Smith, you've seen a few photos of her. Cindy has been with us for over 26 years as the adoption administrative assistant, and also has helped in a number of very important administrative ways in the organization. But I can tell you that the adoption team really has Cindy at the heart and hub of the wheel, helping to keep everything going in the right direction and the right place. Thank you, Cindy. We want to commend Elena Woolman. Elena has been with the Maine Children's Home for over 16 years. She's got a good long history with the organization, was originally a teacher in the Child Care Center, and has been with the Teen Parent Education Program for over 10 years, and really is a great partner and mentor with the director, and also for all the young parents that come through our doors and reach out for assistance. Angie Woodhead. Angie has been with us for over 15 years as one of our social workers, originally in the adoption program, and then for a while in the teen parent education program, and then migrating back to the adoption program. So thank you, Angie, for all of your teaching and support. Lindsay Bragdon is the director of our adoption program, family adoption program. And Lindsay started out originally as an intern with the teen parent program, and really liked and was quite interested in all the things she saw and heard here, and came on board and has been with the adoption program for over 12 years and has been the director of the adoption program for a little over 4 years. And so we're very thankful for Lindsay and her great leadership, and also for her incredible training commitment to the TBRI, and also to the Connected Families Project and our training efforts. We also want to commend Jackie DuPont. Jackie has been the longest serving counselor. She's been in the counseling program for over 11 years. And so we're very thankful for Jackie's guidance and leadership on many issues. And just among those 7 staff that I've mentioned, that's over 160 years of experience. So when people talk about the great staff, well, here you go. There's some great examples of people who come and really make it not just a place to work, but also make it a life, and teach and mentor all of us. We have a number of great people to highlight that have been with us for under a year. We wanted to thank Bobby Heisen. It's our new teen parent program director. She started out with us in May. Sharon Fowler, as you've got to know a little bit. If you didn't know her already, she's our clinical director and has been with us for just about 7 months and brings a lifetime of experience. Verna Hughes is new to our counseling center as the administrative assistant. Welcome, Verna. Paul Ibbotson is brand new, I would say just over a month, in our maintenance program as one of our lead staff members there. And we have a couple of brand new people coming on board at the beginning of February. Denise Giardino is going to join the adoption program. It's one of our social workers. And Brian MacArthur, who started out as an intern and in the counseling program and has decided to come on board now that he's getting licensed. And so he will be one of our full-time counselors starting February 1st. In just a minute, we're going to share a story from our counseling center, and it really highlights the importance during these very challenging times. You know, many of the ways that we set the tone for the work and create a place and a space to help people that are trying to figure out a number of important things. And so I'm going to invite Sharon to say a few words before the video.
Okay. Rick gave me more time. This is also such an honor for me to introduce this piece that was done by one of our amazing clinical social work staff, Beth Russell. I have to say just something about Beth Russell, because and all of our clinical staff are just top-notch. Had the chance to get to know them, but Beth I know particularly well because I was a supervisor during her clinical internship. And she's going to talk with you about the trauma-informed cognitive behavior therapy model that we offer for our children and teens here. And I remember sitting with Beth. We talked about this today. And Beth, I'm going to tell this story. Sitting in my former office with Beth, and we were reading, I think, Bessel van der Kolk, a pretty dense book on trauma. And we were talking about it and having a great conversation. And she said, Sharon, this is the work. this is the work that I want to do. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce a piece of her work with her voice added to it. We want to remind everybody that because we're dedicated in being a trauma-informed organization and offering a safe and supportive environment to support children, youth, and families to understand their own stories. So we're going to share this video of a counseling client's story. We do caution for those of you listening that this is a story about a young person's history of sexual abuse and recovery. Although the story mentions the word sexual abuse, there are no specific details. And we also understand from research that it is quite possible that some viewers may have been impacted in their lives, having an experience of trauma. Hearing stories like this, even if there are no specific details, may actually, in fact, trigger a trauma response in some viewers. And so we encourage all of you to take good care of yourselves during this video and use any supports around you that are important for your own safety. And with that, I introduce Beth and her client.
My name is Beth Russell, and I'm a therapist at Maine Children's Home. I'm here tonight to share a little bit of the personal side of trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy, or TFCBT. TFCBT is an evidence-based treatment model that can be used to support children and teenagers who have experienced trauma, neglect, or traumatic grief. TFCBT helps clients understand that the trauma was not their fault and that they are not the only ones who have experienced a similar traumatic event. They learn to identify feelings and how to manage them. They learn how to relax and tolerate the trauma reminders that can show up in their day-to-day lives. They begin to identify negative thoughts that may cause depression or anxiety and learn how to replace those thoughts with more helpful thoughts. These clients also learn how to resolve problems and learn safety skills to ensure their continued safety as they continue through their life. An important goal in treatment is to provide the child or the teen an opportunity to discuss details about the trauma in a supportive and nurturing environment. This is done through the writing of what TFCBT calls a trauma narrative, or the telling of their story. In developing the trauma narrative, the child's brain begins to replace traumatic memories with more helpful thoughts about the trauma. And in time, these powerful traumatic reminders begin to lose their impact on the child and become less frequent. Tonight, I have the honor and privilege of sharing part of a trauma narrative from a client. Of course, this is being done with her full permission. The client wanted to share part of her story with other children and teens who may have experienced sexual abuse or truly any other form of trauma that they might be scared to talk about. Through her telling of her story, and in particular, the chapter I will be sharing with you tonight, you will be a part of her healing. Making meaning out of a traumatic experience or helping others who have endured a similar trauma has tremendous healing power for our youngest survivors of trauma. And I thank you for being witness and a part of the process for this client. To other children who have been sexually abused. Even though it might feel like the scariest thing you've ever done, telling someone will likely be one of the best decisions you will ever make. After telling someone, there really is just so much love and support, and in my case, I finally felt safe after not feeling safe for so long. If someone doesn't believe you, don't keep it to yourself. Find someone who will hear you and help you. The telling is like you are walking through a snowy blizzard and you can see your house. Once you finally get inside the house, you feel safe, warm, relaxed, and like you can finally take a deep breath. The easiest part of healing is that there are some days where you don't even think about the sexual abuse anymore. It has less power over your thoughts,
which makes you happy and like you can be yourself again and not have to worry. As you start healing, the weight of your story stops taking a physical toll on your body. Before I told, my body always felt tired and gross, and I felt really insecure. Through healing, I definitely have more confidence now. I feel like I can be happy and that I deserve to be happy, and that I never have to feel that way again. And I know what to do now if I do feel that way. There are going to be bad days where you feel like it's all your fault or that you could have done something to prevent it. But you should always know that it will never be your fault because you are the victim. It is simply not your fault. The hardest part of healing were the bad days where your body just feels heavy with the weight of everything. I got through those bad days though. If I was at school, I tried to surround myself with friends that made me happy. At home, I showered and it helped me wash away the feelings of guilt and shame. As hard as it seems, try not to get stuck in your thoughts and take care of yourself. When you can't get out of your head, try to make the negative thoughts in your head into more positive ones. It helps because if you think all of these bad things about the sexual abuse in yourself, you're going to feel like you did before you told. A more helpful thought may not work immediately, but if you keep repeating it and believing it, you start to feel better about yourself. Talking about the sexual abuse and your feelings with someone you trust is really helpful. Eventually, you will start to feel empowered over your story. Don't let your story have power over you.
Thank you for being with us for this story sharing. It's such an honor here at the Maine Children's Home to provide a safe, supportive, and welcoming place to help children, youth, and adults to find meaning and make sense of some of the realities of their lives, which can often be almost unspeakable. It is a community where we endeavor to ensure all are seen, heard, and respected. This ties in with the collective work at the Maine Children's Home as we strive to build safer, healthier, and happier homes for all Maine children and families. I have the great pleasure now to introduce Dan Santos again. You had a moment to meet Dan earlier in the evening. As Dan said, he is a resident of Portland and is the Director of Growth and Innovation for the Portland Area Chamber of Commerce. Dan is concluding his first year as our board chair, and we're very thankful for his time and his energy and his creativity in bringing us this StreamYard format to be able to be with you all tonight. Dan?
Thank you, Rick. That video was incredibly moving and really, really emotional. And I think I'm going to struggle to get my words out properly for the rest of this period. So I do appreciate that video and all the sharing that was completed. Thank you so much. At this time, though, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to call the 122nd annual meeting of the Maine Children's Home to order. As is tradition, I'd like to start this board meeting the way we start every board meeting, and that's by reading our mission, which is to build and strengthen families and their children, instilling hope for the future and a better quality of life. Now, tonight, the board has just one official but brief piece of business to complete, and that is to adopt the Maine Children's Home Board of Directors officers for 2022. As we are all connecting from 7 different locations tonight, an electronic vote from the board was held earlier today, and that slate was approved. Now, with that said, is there a motion from the board to close this portion of the annual business meeting? Perfect. Is there any objections? Hearing none. Excellent. The motion passes, and that is the conclusion of the board's portion of our annual business meeting. But before I leave, I want to congratulate our two new board members, Sarah Grinnell McNeil and Ryan Toothaker. Welcome to the board. It's very exciting to have you. I would also like to extend my eternal gratitude to all of the outgoing board peers. Thank you so much to Ellen Crocker, Rhonda Doucette, Angela Gibbs, Melissa Higgins, Daryl Kent, and Cheryl Mercier for all of your years of dedicated service and countless volunteer hours. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve along with you. And with that said, it is my pleasure to introduce you guys all to the wonderful, the incredible, the absolutely fantastic Director of Development, Elizabeth Barrett.
Wow. Thank you, Dan. I hope I can live up to that introduction. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to be here and talking to you, sharing all of the amazing work of Maine Children's Home. I have the incredible honor to be able to speak about a few things. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Friends of Maine Children's Home. And then after that, I get to tell you about some of our recognitions of our community supporters that we would like to make. So first, I'd like to say the Friends of the Maine Children's Home is actually a separate nonprofit organization, but it's not. It is exists to support Maine Children's Home. They are essentially, the Friends are goodwill ambassadors in the community. They do fundraising. They help promote our fundraising, and just to provide a lot of advocacy and resources to Maine Children's Home as a whole, and also to our programs. They have an incredible fundraiser every year. I suppose a lot of you have heard of it, the Lobster Lunch, where we get an amazing donation of usually about 200 pounds of lobster from Cozy Harbor Seafood, and a strong and mighty core, you keep hearing those words over and over again, a strong and mighty core of volunteers from the Friends shows up for about a day and a half and puts together these amazing lunches that go out. And all of the money that they raise is used to support programs of Maine Children's Home. One of the things that they do each year is a book shower every spring to honor the teens in our teen parent education program and to support their children. The Friends put together book bags, personalized book totes for the teens that have beautiful gifts for the children and the teens in them. They also, the Friends are a major supporter of our Christmas program. Every year we distribute over usually 1,200 children receive gifts from the Christmas program, and the work that goes into handling the inventory and packing the boxes, buying any inventory that we don't have on hand from the amazingly generous donations that we get from the community. The Friends are behind making sure that the Christmas program runs very smoothly, supporting our staff in a really significant and impossible to appreciate fully way. So I want you to understand the role of the Maine Children's Friends. And also, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, or doing any kind of support work for Maine Children's Home, please reach out to me and ask me more about the Friends of the Maine Children's Home. Shoot me an email and let's talk. Because one thing that we can always use is more people, more involved as ambassadors for Maine Children's Home. So thank you, friends, for being here and for supporting us all. And then I'm going to segue right into just the awards that we would like to, the recognitions that we'd like to make for volunteers, businesses, and supporters of Maine Children's Home for 2021. We had just talking about the Christmas program a moment ago, and we were able to run our Christmas program this year with great dedication from a core group of Christmas volunteers. And if you come to a lot of our annual meetings, you probably hear us say that the Christmas the volunteers, but I promise you this year, it's even more significant. We are deeply appreciative and grateful for the Christmas volunteers who have showed up this past year. The team of, I'm counting, 5 people who were steadily here day after day, assuring that all of the nuts and bolts of this program were being attended to under the uplifting and encouraging eye of our new Christmas program coordinator, Amanda Simmons. Our huge gratitude to Rhonda Ducret, Christine Rancourt, Judy Paquette, Judy and Tom Quinn, and David Monk. Thank you so much for all of your support, your heartfulness, and your care in making sure that we served all of the children that we served this year. So wherever you're at, please, a round of applause for these amazing volunteers. I also have another volunteer to share with you. We have the great honor of recognizing Abby Peabody as a wonderful volunteer in the community supporting Maine Children's Home in a very special way. Abby is committed to community service and making the world a better place. She's a former Miss Maine and has used her talents to help educate young people, and along with her family has developed a program called the Miss Holiday Angel Pageant. Back in 2018, they kicked off these pageants, and the amazing thing that they do is they help to raise donations for the Christmas program through this pageant. The goals of the Miss Holiday Angel Pageant are to raise awareness to the crucial work that Maine Children's Home does for the community, and also collecting the funds and the actual donations that go into the boxes. In 2021, 745 items and $485 was raised for the Maine Children's Home Christmas program by all of the contestants in this pageant. And since its inception, the pageant has raised almost $2,000 and thousands of items for the Christmas program. So Abby and your family and Miss Holiday Angels, thank you very much for all of your support for Maine Children's Home. More applause. Come on, some woots. I won't do that to you. I won't do it. Okay. We'd like to recognize some businesses as well as major supporters. Martin's, thank you very much to the Martin stores and the Martin family. This year, we received a check for $68,000 from the Martins, which is a gift from the family itself themselves. And also the rest, if you ever, try to buy it when you saw it at Martin's, you see the red stockings that they have, the whole campaign that they have from November into December. And through that red stocking campaign, they raised $58,000. So thanks to all of you who shop at Martin's and made that donation, bought that stocking and had it hung up on the window with your name on it, to be proud of yourselves, because you've done an amazing job and helped a lot of children across the state of Maine. So more applause. We also want to recognize Central Maine Motors. We're grateful for the ongoing support and partnership with the Gauntz family and Central Maine Motors. They have been supporters of Maine Children's Home for many years, and they have helped with sponsorships for events and activities, and once again have made a significant donation to the Christmas program. Thank you for your support, and thank you for all you do for Maine children and families in the greater Waterville area. We appreciate you. More applause, everyone. Okay, and also we would like to recognize Assistance Plus. We greatly appreciate the support and encouragement from Assistance Plus this year. They did an amazing job of supporting teen parent education program during their holiday celebration by providing gifts and essentials for the teens and their children. And we appreciate all of their support that they provide and their advocacy that they provide throughout the year. Thank you, Assistance Plus. I'd also like to give a shout out to Mainly Tubs. They have been a drop-off site for the Christmas program for many, many seasons now. And they're essentially make it possible for us to collect gifts in Southern Maine. Their shop is located in Scarborough, and they act as a collection site. They run ads that help raise people's awareness about Maine Children's Home and the Christmas program. And this year, they also made a very significant financial contribution to Maine Children's Home, as well as providing all of the support that they always do every year. So thank you very much, Mainly Tubs, for your support for Maine children and families. The supporters we'd like to recognize this year, the Harold Alfond Foundation. Thank you very much. Our campus is the Dorothy Bibby Alfond campus, and that is in honor of the significant time and care and heartfulness that Mrs. Alfond brought to Maine Children's Home when she was alive. And we are grateful for the support from the Harold Alfond Foundation and the whole Alfond family, who continue to support the work and recognize the incredible impact that this work has for the greater Waterville area and across Maine. So thank you very much for your support. And last and not least at all, and is the support that we receive from the New Balance Foundation. The New Balance Foundation provides support to our Christmas program every year. They have sponsored us, and this past year at an even larger amount of financial support to make sure that we are able to provide resources for families with young children who are struggling financially, and the families receive an emotional break, essentially, by having the holiday essentials and gifts provided for them. As Sharon said earlier, it is as we examine how we be trauma informed, how do we support families that are struggling? And this community shows up in such a vast way to support the Christmas program. And we wouldn't be able to do it without the financial support of New Balance Foundation, Martin's, and the Friends, and the thousands of people across Maine and frankly across the US who send gifts to help provide this program with the items that we need to send out to these young children. So thanks to all of you for all of your support for the Christmas program, for all of our programs from Maine Children's Home, because supporting Maine Children's Home is supporting Maine's children, youth, and families. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I love getting a chance to be here and share all of this great news. And with all of that, I am going to send this back to Rick.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I have roughly 10 minutes to share a whole year's of great successes. I will do my best to just kind of work through them. First of all, we want to say that once again, we've had many thousands of partners across the state and across the country that have helped us with our Red Stocking appeal. There are many ways we invite people to support our work, and we could not do our work without people stepping in small and some very large ways. But every gift makes a difference, and we're so thankful. Elizabeth mentioned the Harold Alphon Foundation. In 2021, we completed some of the last steps of our most recent grant with the Alphon Foundation, and we're very appreciative of that support. We are very thrilled with some of the partners that we have on our campus. Not everyone realizes that on the Dorothy Bibby Alphon campus at 93 Silver Street in Waterville, we have a variety of other partners doing good works on our campus. And we love that because they're helping to share and connect people that need assistance, and also helping us to offset some of our expenses and operations for the campus. We particularly want to reach out and say thank you to Bright Beginnings Learning Center for their childcare that they provided, most critically during these COVID times. We're very thankful for them. The Children's Center of Augusta leases space from us to provide occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, and behavioral support for youth from the Waterville community. We also want to say great thanks to Waterville Schools for our continued partnership. We house the Waterville Alternative High School on our campus. Each of these programs has helped us to share both referrals and information and resources, and again, helps to help offset some of our operating costs on campus. We want to highlight that we had a very successful donor love outreach campaign in February. People probably heard from us in a variety of different ways, with postcards, with phone calls, with notes and cards and outreach in new ways to say thank you for the incredible support and the incredible work that you're investing in the Maine Children's Home. We have continued throughout 2021 to keep our doors open and to keep offering services across all of our programs. That has taken a lot of planning, lots of careful work by our staff, and most importantly, we want to highlight our maintenance team, who's done extraordinary things in very difficult times to make sure that we could keep seeing people in counseling. We could keep making sure that there's a space for alternative students, to make sure we could prepare our Christmas program, and many other resources on our campus. We're thrilled to say that telehealth allowed us to reach many more people over the past year that for a variety of reasons couldn't come to our campus, or the therapists perhaps couldn't get to our campus. And we continue to provide vital services and supports for counseling through telehealth in a virtual way. We, as Sharon noted earlier, we have expanded the Connected Families project at Maine Children's Home. We're offering more trainings. You probably saw more blog posts and social media posts and outreach in many new and dynamic ways. And I invite you to keep following us and to keep listening to hear the new and expanded ways we're going to keep reaching out. We also want to just say some great things about the teen and young parent education program. We made some changes this year to be able to expand our outreach into the community. Over the 6 years I've been here, I've heard many, many times about the challenges of transportation and getting to our campus. And so the good work of Bobby and Elena have done a lot of outreach this year to reach teens in other ways to make sure that we can help to improve the health and well-being for them, for their children, to make sure they had healthy and successful childbirths, and to help them to connect with vital resources and supports. We also had a very exciting There's No Place Like Home virtual fundraiser in June. And I can't say enough about the great Maine authors who volunteered their time to do readings for us. That was a very successful effort through the online auction and helped us to do some outreach and some fundraising in new and exciting ways. And you'll be hearing a lot more in the next few months. We are planning to hold that effort again. The online auction piece will be held again this June. And so we invite you to follow us and to keep looking at our website for information about that. There's been a lot of work this past several months to work on the agency's strategic plan. We have a vision and goals for the next several years, and we have some concrete steps that we're trying to, regardless of what's happening around us, to keep moving forward, to keep serving families, to keep being a partner with kids and families that really need people to be with them. As Elizabeth shared a number of examples with our Christmas program, despite a number of challenges, we were able to reach nearly 1,200 children this winter from over 500 families across the whole state of Maine. And all of that with a very small core volunteer group. And if you've not helped out with our Christmas program, we invite you to be in touch with us next fall. Give us a shout in October, and we'd love to do some training to help other people to get involved with our volunteer program there. And we welcome more support with that and some more training to go along with that. And again, we have some big visions for our Christmas program for next year. And we're so thankful to have Amanda Simmons on board as our new Christmas coordinator. I can't finish the program tonight without doing a major shout out to the Family Adoption Program team. It may not be clear to many folks, but the Maine Children's Home is the only accredited agency in the state for adoption that meets the International Hague Standards on Adoption. And the adoption team has had the joy this week to be working with an accreditation team to review many, many files, many records, many activities. And so really it's been some very intensive work on top of all their regular work over the past year. And just yesterday, we had the exit meeting with the accreditation team, and we got some very positive feedback. And now we wait for 4 to 6 weeks or so to get the official initial report to hear how we did. But I can't say enough great things about the adoption social workers. And I have no doubt that they are a shining example of the adoption work that was started in Augusta nearly 123 years ago. It's still shining bright and still doing incredible work to match kids up with wonderful, loving, safe, and beautiful homes to create for forever families. And so well done, and kudos to the Family Adoption Program. We are successfully moving forward as an organization and teams of supporters to fill our mission that make life better for Maine children and their families. As always, we are deeply thankful for the Maine Children's Home Board of Directors. They're all volunteers. And we also want to thank other agency volunteers for all their time and the incredible staff members of Maine Children's Home, who throughout 2021 have kept adjusting and stretching and doing many incredible things without missing a beat. You know, this has been a year of adjustments, and I think of in my car, there's a navigation system, and I'm known to perhaps take a wrong turn. And so it'll often say recalculating. And so this is a year of recalculating and figuring out how to just keep moving forward and keep doing the work. This has been a very challenging year for many people, and virtually every family has been impacted by COVID. And we see it in the schools, we see it in the healthcare facilities, we're seeing it all around us. And we're so thankful for the creativity and ingenuity of our great staff that really have figured out ways to keep working, to keep doing things in safe and responsible ways, and keep showing up for kids. So we thank you to our board, to our volunteers, and especially to our staff for being there for us and really pitching in many, many important and timely ways. One of the last things that I will say is we do many incredible things at the Maine Children's Home. We do many things that at times are not the most business conscious decisions, that maybe aren't the most logical from a fiscal perspective, but we do things because they're the right things to do. And because kids need us to show up in very particular ways. And I don't know who you all are that are watching tonight, but if you have kids in your lives, kids in your homes, we have tools and resources that can and will help you, will help your kids, will help your families. And if it were not for supporters and investors and donors and partners, we couldn't do our work. And so we have the great privilege and the honor that thousands of people every year say, yes, I'd like to help. And so one of the things that you'll be seeing and hearing more about over the next few weeks is we are officially kicking off our Red Stocking Appeal for 2022. And we need you. We need more partners and supporters. And it takes all of us to pitch in. With everybody pitching in a little bit, it makes a huge difference. And so thank you for showing up with us to help support our work and investing in the possibilities. You heard one very incredible, moving story tonight about a life that was deeply changed and impacted because she was able to find a place where she could be heard. She could get some support to make sense of things that had happened in her life. And so obviously from her own words, she has a more hopeful outlook and has more positive goals for life and a very different outlook because we were there when she needed us at a very important time. We thank you very much for being with us tonight. We've shared a great deal of information in a very brief way. We're mindful of this time that we're gathering and being together online. It is not our preferred way to gather as we are for our annual meeting, but we are very committed to doing things in a safer and healthy way. And so, and with that, one of the people that we must highlight for putting all of this together, I guarantee you she's got her fingers on levers behind the screen. Her name is Chelsea Ellis. Chelsea is our marketing coordinator. And so please join me in congratulating Chelsea for putting our words and our plans and our hopes all together in this wonderful format tonight. Congratulations, Chelsea. With that, you may have noticed there was going to be a door prize giveaway this evening. And so I'm very pleased to say that Betsy Strout, you are the winner for our gift prize and giveaway this evening. So Betsy, you will be able to receive a $25 Mid-Maine Chamber gift certificate, as well as a Maine Children's Home tote bag with some very special parting gifts for you. And so please reach out to us, or I believe Elizabeth has your contact information, and she'll be reaching out to you shortly. And again, I invite you to continue to learn more about the Maine Children's Home, continue to reach out. If you want to talk about the work that we're doing, if you want to learn more about it. But most importantly, I say this many times a week, if you have kids in your family, in your household, we have tools and resources that can help. And if we can't do it directly, we would very much love to refer you and connect to other partners that may best fit your needs. And so thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for being a friend and a partner to the Maine Children's Home. And thank you for helping us to kick off our 123rd wonderful year of services and supports to Maine children, youth, and families. Thank you all very much.